Hello and welcome to the Chandra Academy. In today's video, we are going to solve an exercise about trigonometry. This exercise is an easy exercise that you should master before your exam. For each of the given angles, we are going first to find its position within the trigonometric circle, and then, using the trigonometric circle as a tool, we are going to find the value of the sinus and the cosinus of the said angle. Let's start with the first angle A. So let's write down the angle 5 pi over 6 and a trigonometric circle that we will use as a tool. Of course, as said in the question, here we've got 0 because we want something between 0 and 2 pi. So we want to find the appropriate trigonometric circle. Of course, x is between 0 and 2 pi here. So we've got 0, pi here, and 2 pi here. I can also write down pi as 6 pi over 6, which is the same thing. And now we can see that 5 pi over 6 is just 6 pi over 6 minus pi over 6. So here we've got 5 pi over 6. So if we do the opposite here, we've got here pi over 6. Perfect. Now for this angle, I want to find the sinus and the cosinus. How do I do? What do I know? I know the values for pi over 6. The cosinus of pi over 6 is equal to square root of 3 over 2, and its sinus is equal to 1/2. And what do I see here is that my angle 5 pi over 6 is the symmetric of pi over 6 for the cosinus, so that the cosinus, which is negative here because we read the cosinus on this axis, cosinus of my 5 pi over 6 is equal to minus, because I'm on the negative side, the cosinus of pi over 6, because they are the same by construction, and that's why we're using the trigonometric circle, is equal to minus square root of 3 over 2. For the sinus of 5 pi over 6 is equal to what? As we see in the sketch, this is the same sinus as pi over 6. So is equal to 1/2. And we have solved the first question. Now, number B. Okay, so angle B, x is equal to minus pi. Okay, so here, this will be very easy. Let's graph a trigonometric circle. So a circle, the two axes, the cosinus axis here and the sinus axis here. Let's write down the suitable values. Here 0, here minus pi. So I go from minus pi here to 0 and going back to pi. Okay, perfect. And my angle minus pi is the same thing at the angle pi than the angle pi here. So our x is at this point. Let's remember that the radius of a trigonometric circle is equal to 1, and that we read the cosinus on this axis with the 0 here, and the sinus on this axis with the 0 here as well. And just by saying that, we can see that our cosinus of minus pi will be equal to -1. -1 because I go from r is equal to 1 to the left in comparison to my origin, and everything on the cosinus axis, and here the sinus axis. Perfect. And now the sinus of minus pi will be equal to 0 because I do not go anywhere far on the sinus axis, which is, I'll just remind you, which is this axis. And if we read the sinus of this angle here, we will have 0. So sinus of minus pi is equal to 0. Perfect. So now, angle C. We've got x, which is equal to minus 2 pi over 3. So let's sketch a trigonometric circle. So a circle with the cosinus axis here, the sinus axis here. Let's write them down. Here cosinus, because I read the cosinus on this axis, the sinus, and the origin. What about minus 2 pi over 3? So we got something negative. The suitable trigonometric circle goes from minus pi, going to 0, and going back to pi. We know how to construct the angle pi over 3, which is this angle, very easy. One of the regular angles you need to know. We've got, so minus pi over 3 here, minus pi over 3, and minus 2 pi over 3. I just do minus 2 times this length. Okay, my sketch may not be perfect. And we come here. So minus 2 pi over 3. Perfect, this is our angle. Now, how to find the value of the cosinus of minus 2 pi over 3 and the sinus of minus 2 pi over 3. Just by knowing the values for the angle pi over 3. Let's remember them. We've got cosinus of pi over 3, which is equal to 1/2, and sinus of pi over 3, which is equal to square root of 3 over 2. And what do you need to see here? So if we want to find for our angle, this will be this value and this value. What you want to see here is that this length here, which is the sinus, let's call it L, which is the sinus of minus 2 pi over 3, is the same in absolute value than the one for pi over 3, L as well. But this time we are going on the negative part of the sinus. And so our cosinus will be equal to, our sinus will be equal to minus L, with L is equal to square root of 3 over 2, and this is equal to minus square root of 3 over 2. Same thing for the cosinus. We've got this length here, let's call it capital L, that is the same length as this one. Okay? Because this is a lot about symmetry. Okay? This one we've got 1/2, but for minus 2 pi over 3, this is on the negative part of the cosinus. And so our value will be equal to minus capital L, which is equal to minus 1/2. And we have solved the third angle. Fourth angle, D, we've got x, which is equal to minus pi over 4. This is always the same method, minus pi over 4. Let's write down a trigonometric circle. Of course, you can do everything on the same trigonometric circle, but I want it to be clearer for you, so I do a lot of trigonometric circles. Same thing, we've got something negative, we go from minus pi, going to 0, and going back to pi, with the cosinus here and the sinus here. I know everything about the value pi over 4, which gives me square root of 2 over 2 for the cosinus, and same thing, square root of 2 over 2 for the sinus. But this time, my angle is minus 4 pi over 2. Minus 4 pi over 2. Minus 4 pi. Minus pi over 4, sorry. Minus pi over 4. And what you can see here is that I've got the same cosinus and positively here, little l and little l. Both have the same cosinus, and so I can easily say that cosinus of minus pi over 4 is equal to square root of 2 over 2. And this time, we can see that this length here, let's call it capital L, is the same as this one by construction, okay, but we are going to the negative side of the sinus. And so that sinus of minus pi over 4 will be equal to minus capital L. And let's remind that capital L is equal to square root of 2 over 2. So the sinus is equal to minus square root of 2 over 2. And this is always the same thing you need to know. And this will be very, very useful in physics. Okay, so let's finish our exercise with angle number E, which is equal, x is equal to minus pi over 6. Same thing, I sketch a trigonometric circle with my axis for cosinus, my axis for sinus. Very easy, cosinus, sinus. I know everything about the angle pi over 6. I know that the cosinus is equal to square root of 3 over 2. And the sinus is equal to 1/2. But this time I've got minus this angle. So here minus pi over 6. But what do I know? And what do I see? I see that the two cosinus will be equal. Okay, so the cosinus of minus pi over 6 will be equal to the cosinus of pi over 6, which is equal to square root of 3 over 2. And for the sinus of minus pi over 6, I can see that we've got this length that is the same as this one, but in the negative part of the sinus is equal to minus, because we are on the negative part of the sinus, minus 1/2. And we have solved the whole exercise. So you just need training to have this kind of consideration, but once you have it, this exercise will be really easy and really helpful for the rest of your cursus. So hope you enjoyed the video. See you soon. Bye.